I told you they'd be here today. John Brady, who is president of the Narvre Group, and Dave Harlicker, communications officer. And we're going to talk about railroad retirement, which this group started, John, wasn't it about 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
And it's really growing.
Well, we're up to 110 members. We lost 2 members, just they didn't pay, but yesterday at our meeting, we gained 2 members.
Oh. So
2 fellows, guests came and they liked it, and so they joined.
Yeah,
so
yeah, good.
Yes.
Good. And
always looking for members.
Explain what your meetings consist of, John.
Information on what's happening in Washington concerning railroad retirement, and like at yesterday's meeting, I pointed out to the members that elections are coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever you're going to vote for, whoever it is, you should call them and make sure they understand railroad retirement laws. And because, of course, a lot of representatives want to cut and cut. To cut railroad retirement or mimic Social Security, the government or American taxpayers would not save a penny. Because like 41 years here, I paid into it, Dave paid into it. It's our money we paid into it that they're investing.
Right.
So, we had a guest yesterday. Last week was Fire Prevention Month. So we had a guest talk about in-home fire safety.
Yeah, I know that guy too. I can't think of his name.
He's from
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, Brian
Sherman. Brian Sherman. Yeah.
He was a volunteer fireman out there, and I can't think of where. Out by Albion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you have guests every week or every month.
We try to make the meeting interesting for different things.
Do you get a lot of questions? Now I get some questions here that about railroad retirement and that sort of stuff. Like I think one of them was Sharpie, who was a longtime railroader, and he's been sick, but he was interested in your group. You are open to taking
definitely
members,
open to members or questions.
And you have I think you had a list of some of the questions that you've been asked, right, John?
I think Dave does.
David, okay.
Okay, one of the ones they ask us all the time is how solvent is railroad retirement? And as of June 14th of this year, there's over $27 billion in the Railroad Retirement Fund, and it's solvent for the next 15 years. And every 6 months they take a calculation of how much money is in the fund. And there's over 700,000 retirees drawing benefits from railroad retirements with their spouses. That's how many people are drawing.
Wow.
And that's, like I say, we have the dock company too. You know, they're on railroad retirement. So we have members from the dock company, and they're on railroad retirement with us. So that's how much is in there. And like John says, this is ours. You know, nobody's bothered with this but us. This is our pension. This is our payment that we paid into this to get this for ourselves. We didn't get it from anybody else, the government or anything else. So that's what makes it bad when they want to take Social Security and railroad retirement and merge it together.
No.
There's a lot of representatives that call it an entitlement.
Entitlement. It's not an
We
entitlement.
paid into it for 41 years. I did.
Mm-hmm.
41 years. You worked for the railroad that long?
Yes, 41 years.
How old were you when you started?
I was 18.
Really?
18, yeah.
So now tell me how that
19,
works.
excuse me, 19.
How's that work now? So you go to work when you're that young, and you think did you have to pay into it, or you did?
Yes.
That was a requirement.
Automatic.
So they were basically taking care of you so that when your retirement came, you'd be taken care of yourselves, right?
Yes.
Yes. And see, the thing is, here you are, and John will tell you, we work with these old fellows. Here we are, 19, 20 years old on the railroad. And you're working with a guy that's 65. Back then they worked till they were 70 or 80 or just never retired, you know. And they're telling you, oh yeah, kid, you're going to retire. And geez, I got 40, you know, I'm looking at this guy up.
Yeah, right.
Where am I going to be 40? Well, 40 years I had, John had 41. And then you always get this question about the spouse, like our wives. Now, they never worked a day on the railroad, but they get a percentage of our retirement. And it's better than Social Security, you know, actually what they get.
Yeah.
So they're getting some of it. And this last deal, it was the spouse that was going to get the hit on when they tried to
Yeah,
put Social
sure.
Security and Railroad Retirement together
yeah.
in 012. Well, the spouse is going to take the hit, most of hers, and then we were going to get a cut. So we were going to go down to hardly nothing, just when they were going to put it together.
Tell me this, Dave. Say if you passed away, would Lynn still get some money?
Yes, yes. Now what happened now, they changed this when we had, went down from 62 to 60 to retire, with 30 years of service and full benefits. They lowered the pension age.
Okay.
Before, the wife would get just hers and the husband's was gone. Now the wife gets the husband's, which is more than hers.
She moves up
She
to
moves
what the
up,
husband
see.
was getting.
Really?
Yeah, so she makes out good. And when they pass away on us, we get nothing.
That's
I
our
don't mean that to be sarcastic.
transportation unions went in and fought for this, and because we were paying so much into it,
Yeah.
and the government did let them invest it then.
Okay.
So they did good with their investments. I don't know if they are now,
Yeah.
but
I remember the time when, and I think it was David emailed me or something, and when there was a concern about the state. The state was going to do something.
Yeah, they're taught. Well, see, now that's another thing. Now we don't pay any state tax on our pension or city tax.
Right.
But now there's talk that the state wants to start charging us, taking state tax from our pension, Social Security and Railroad Retirement. Some pensions do pay a state tax. Well, we never paid one, just federal income tax. And another thing, this pension of ours, when we paid into it every month, it was taxed by the federal government when we paid into it when we were working.
Right.
So now we retire and we're paying tax on it again. So we're getting taxed twice for this pension, on, you know, for the federal income tax. And I think Social Security works the same way. But now they want to. There's talk. We get stuff in the mail. Tom Miller was supposed to be here, gets this legislative stuff, and he was telling us that now they're talking about taking the state tax on every retirement. So there's another hit if it comes. But I mean that's going to be down the road a ways and stuff like that.
Wow.
another, like we discussed yesterday at our meeting, that there's some bills in the House right now being tossed around, they haven't voted on them yet, to cut Amtrak funding.
Yeah.
And you're talking in the 20,000 plus employees that could be hurt by this.
Mm-hmm.
So 10, 15,000 employees hurt that were paying in the railroad retirement that aren't now. Mm-hmm. That could happen.
That could happen.
And that's some of the things we, at the meeting, you asked what we discussed at the meeting.
Right.
So that's why we want our representatives to be aware of the Railroad Retirement Act. They're not, to cut ours, nobody's saving any money.
Right. You know, I guess I'm kind of shocked that that you have to pay taxes on something that you were mandatory had to pay in.
Right. And like I said, you were taxed on his pension when you were working. You understand? You
Right,
paid this
right,
in every month,
right.
and then you were taxed then. Okay, so you retire, and then all of a sudden now you're paying federal income tax again on it. And my wife pays it, and our spouse and us, we both pay. You know, it's based on how much money you make. You can have so much deducted, you know, so that you don't have to pay at the end of the year. You know, so you get something out of it. But it goes up and down all the time, because once in a while you get a little raise. When Social Security gets a raise, we get a little percentage of a raise too. Then you have to have your Medicare comes out of your pension. That's automatically deducted out of it too, see? So that's fine, you gotta have that anyway.
Right.
But then again, like I say, when you're working, you know, when you retire from work, like we did, you're taking a cut in pay no matter where you work. You're gonna lose money.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, let's face it, you were used to 40 years, and then we retire, and then, you know, here you are, and then you're taxed on that money again.
Yeah.
But,
Are you guys okay now as far as being able to live in
It took a
retirement?
while to get accustomed to it, but
it's
yeah,
used to-
we're okay.
Yeah.
you went from paid twice a month to once a month,
Yeah.
Yeah.
see, you know, and then
And like Dave says, our wages were probably cut by a third
Oh,
with
yeah.
going
Yeah.
on retirement.
Sure.
retirement.
Sure.
And then now you're home 24 hours a day with your wife, where before
Let me tell you about that one. Let me
you
tell
were
you.
gone a couple days at a
40
time.
years away from it, and all of a sudden here you sit in this house, you know. Sometimes there's a domestic, no lights and sirens or gunshots, but I mean, you know, here we sit here, you know, and you look at each other, and I don't know, you know, what you do, you know. I mean, you're in one room, I'm in the other.
It's a whole new ball game, isn't
Oh
it?
yeah. God, I love you today, but may hate you tomorrow.
I got my first Social Security check last month,
Is that right?
Oh,
and since I'm working, that's gravy.
Yeah.
yeah.
But as Michelle said, you quit your job or you retire. She goes, "You realize
Yeah.
what you're going to be making? It ain't going to happen. You know, it can't happen right now."
No.
And just bought a house, brand new house
Yeah.
and stuff. And And then she said basically what you guys just said. What are you gonna do
Yeah.
for 24
Yeah.
hours?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She's still working. She's younger than I am, 12
Yeah.
years younger.
Yeah.
So.
It's hard to adjust, you know, because here you are, you've been gone all our life, you know, back and forth, back and forth. Then when I retired December 1st, you know, my 40 years is up, and I'm sitting in this house and there's a blizzard. And I'm thinking, boy, this is not good. And Lynn was still working. She worked it 4 months longer, you know, and then and she'd come home and say, how's everything today? And you know, you're ready to you know,
Scream.
Oh man, you know, then, but, you know, then after you're on it a while, you know, I've been on it 10
Of course,
years.
doesn't it feel good to be home with no blizzard?
Oh yeah, and you're not going out in the middle of the night and, you know, all hours
Right.
of the night and going away and coming back and here and there, missing things, you're right there, you know.
Now you guys work for Norfolk, right?
Yeah.
Well, we
Well,
started with nickel plate,
Nickel plate,
Norfolk
right?
Western,
Western.
now it's Norfolk Southern.
Yeah, yeah. My Uncle Paul worked
Yeah,
there
yeah.
years ago.
He worked in the car department, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. A third
Con-
shift, I think.
Connet Yard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember.
I remember the days too, and where like my ex-father-in-law worked there, Nate Johnson,
Oh yeah,
and he got transferred to Bellevue, I think
Right.
it was,
right.
and that made a terrible problem in their life because he was living there during the week and come home on the weekends and.
My dad did that. He got
Did he?
worked in the car department. He got laid off. He'd have to go to Bellevue and work. He had an apartment up there, you know. Then he got laid up there and went to Chicago. Calumet Yard. They had to ride the passenger train out of Connie to Chicago and
Oh
back.
my God.
He spent 9 hours each way on the train on his 2 days off, and he was only home like 18, 20 hours. He had to go back.
Oh boy, what a life!
Oh yeah, I mean, but what are you gonna do? You know, that's where the only place he worked and everything. Then he got a job down in Bessemer and retired on a
From
railroad
here.
from the Bessemer as a car now.
Did you guys do a lot of traveling, or did you just work out of the yards?
We traveled. He went to
Yeah,
Buffalo and I
yeah.
went to Bellevue.
My last year and a half, I worked, I had to drive to Buffalo, get a stack train and take it to Toledo. One end of the lake to the other was 300 miles.
No kidding.
Yeah. But it was the mail and the UPS stuff, so
Yeah.
as we say, they opened up the gates,
Yeah.
you know, because that was hot freight, so.
I
Right.
worked at Fairport Harbor on a local. We'd go down to Fairport Harbor, you know where Fairport Harbor
Yeah,
is. Switch
sure.
down there and come back with a train. Worked
Really?
5 days a week, 12 hours a day. I mean, it was a good Saturday and Sunday off. That's like we've always said. You hire out, you're getting all the worst jobs there is because the older heads are taking the jobs. This guy's 70 years old, is home for Christmas. He never had a kid. He's by himself. We got kids, we can't be home for Christmas.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's the job. Now we're old enough, we're at the end of our career, and everybody said everybody's gone. We got the Saturday and Sundays off and the holidays,
Yeah.
and there's nobody there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just
Kids are gone.
That's the way
The
it
kids
was.
are gone.
But
Yeah.
you know that when you hire out, I mean, he's from a railroad family, I am too. You know,
Yeah.
That's all you were around all your life.
Yeah. Well, I think we all of us grew up in a
Oh,
railroad
yeah.
family.
Oh, yeah.
And the
environment.
town boomed, you know that, with the dock company and the railroads and everything else like that. But
It was like was it the early '60s, mid '60s when everything kind of just.
yeah,
fell
the steam
apart?
left and they moved that
Yeah.
to Bellevue and they shut the shops down and they, you know, and they merged with the Norfolk and Western. Naturally, they wanted to get rid of
That's
this.
when a lot
That's
of
when it all went to
cutting
heck.
came,
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
What are some of the other questions, David? That,
Well, I had one here, but it doesn't pertain now because it was like military time, like back when the draft was on. I'm just saying when we were all going to service. One thing about the railroad, and this pertains to me, I was here and then had to go into service for 2 years. Well, when you go into service, I was gone 2 years and then I came back and went back to work on the railroad. So when I retired, I actually had 38 years of service, but I got credited for 40 because the 2 years I was gone, railroad
Right,
retirement
right.
took right over and paid it all. So there was no money losses towards your pension like some places do. So I just got credited for the 40 years towards the railroad retirement. But now, I don't think they have to, not too many people, you know, in the service working on the railroad, they usually don't, they're in the service before they go on the railroad. But that, and then another thing, some companies make them buy their service time. In other words, they have to pay so much for the years they're gone
Right.
to get credit for. With the railroad, you didn't do that. They gave you credit for the 2 years you were gone, just like you worked there the whole time you were there, and it helps out towards your
I
pension.
think they do that with the city. I think
Do they?
I think they have to buy it. And, yeah. So
I
you
know
guys
some
didn't have to
places-
do that.
No. That's
Well, I
not the
think you
pertain.
only used it, I think, like you have to have 30 years.
Right.
If you only had 28, you could use your military
Right.
time to get that
To
30.
get to 30.
Yeah.
The 30 years is the key for that early out because you had to have 30 years of service and be 60 years of age. It was a 90 plan they called it, you know.
Yeah.
And you got you retired at 60 instead of 62, and you got the same thing at 60 you would have got at 62. So why work? You know.
I agree.
And I was 60, so I just quit and went on pension and got the same thing for 2 years, just like I was there. So it worked out good for him.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing. So.
And
Go ahead, John.
another question a lot of people will ask, like yesterday we had two guests, one of them asked, what is the purpose of Narvre? Well, I like to tell them the 3 P's, protection, preserve, and promote railroad retirement. That's what we do, or try to do.
Right.
Let them know what's happening in Washington.
Do they come with a lot of questions, a lot of your members, or they just want to observe and you educate them?
Yes, yeah, that's
Basically
basically
what it
how
is.
the meeting goes.
Yeah.
There are questions thrown at us once in a while.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's amazing in this town how many people are retired from the dock company, honorary retirement,
Yeah.
and the railroad that don't belong. I mean, you know, it's not like you're paying a fortune here to have a job, to belong to this organization. But here we sit at the Eagles Club, they furnish everything. You know, they furnish the club,
Yeah.
the refreshments. We got 4 members that are in the unit that are officers in the Eagles Club.
Okay.
So that really helps out a lot. But here's a place that we go every month and have a meeting, and they furnish everything for us, where some places you have to pay.
Oh, yeah. I thought you probably were.
No, and I'll tell you, when I was in St. Louis at Easter with our son's house, I was in a place with him, and this guy was sitting beside me, who belonged to Narvre unit in St. Louis. Well, he said he's in a unit with 565 guys. Here I am with 110 people, you know.
Yeah.
So he was asking me about things. I said, would you have newspaper? No, we don't do that. I said, do you ever get on TV? No, we don't do that. They got 17 TV stations in St. Louis and 200 radio stations, and they don't have no media to get out like we do here.
Is that right?
So I told him, I said, we got a radio TV station we go to. The fella has us on there. We got radio. We got 6 newspapers. He said, how many hundreds of thousands of people live there? I said, there's 13,000 people.
Yeah.
He said, you only got 110 members? I said, yeah, but we get out in the public and get out around where they know where we're at.
Right,
you know?
right.
But like you said, they got a lot of people, but they don't do nothing.
Look, if they would have.
Oh, jeez, oh man.
What
Look
they
what
have.
we'd have here if we
Well,
did.
that's
God,
Cleveland unit,
Yeah.
Unit 19. They want Dave to come up there
Yeah,
to
they wanted me to
help them.
help them with their
Really?
communication
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
you know. And then they'll ask, well, can you do this? Can you do that? Well, it's, you know, this isn't a lot of work here, but it's time consuming, you know.
Uh-huh.
My wife does the typing because I'd still be there trying to type
I
something.
noticed the emails come in her name.
Yeah, and the emails in her name, yeah, because sometimes I tell her she'll be in there typing and we're hollering back and forth. I says, I'm not going to get the next secretary ain't coming in here from the place I got you from. But it works out good to, you know, we're with you and then the radio station and 6 newspapers, you know, and they always put our announcements out for us, and they're always very good to us. And
I saw one in the Courier this last week.
yeah,
They
yeah,
put
Martha's
it-
always
She's a good girl.
Yeah, we're in Pennsylvania. A lot of members from Pennsylvania because of the dock company and the best members.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it works out good
Yeah.
there. It really does.
Well, I was going to ask you something. What the heck was it?
Oh, we did have elections yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, how'd that go?
But we're back. They didn't throw us out.
So they re-elected.
Yeah,
Well, I was nominated
Yeah.
for president again, and then a member made a motion that if everybody's in agreement, the officers, the members, why not stay where we're at?
Yeah,
So
that's the
everybody-
truth.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's running smooth,
Yeah.
why change it? you know?
One member says, well, how long you guys been doing it? Well, 2 years. That's not long enough. You can stay.
Yeah. It's every 2
So-
years we have elections.
Yeah. John, you had, your next meeting will be the 10th.
That'll be November 10th at 10 o'clock. And it's the day before Veterans Day, so we are going to honor the veterans.
Sure.
Like Dave, he's a combat veteran.
Yeah.
And our secretary and treasurer, Ralph
Manganell.
Manganell, he's a veteran. He's going to speak at our meeting, and we're going to honor the vets.
Very good.
Yeah.
That timely there.
Yes,
Very timely.
yes.
While we're at it, that next day we are supposed to have a veterans show. And we're going to be showing that video of all the veterans that from Connie that served. The other thing, there's another thing you wanted to mention too, John, during the break, and I can't remember what it was now.
Well, just we're always looking for members. Anybody that's under railroad retirement should consider calling us or coming to our meeting at second Tuesday of the month at 10 a.m. at the Eagles and see what it's all about and perhaps join. that would be great.
They have refreshments, and they also have a, what, 50-50
50-50
drawing. Yeah,
drawing.
yeah. And we have a big picnic every year.
Big picnic.
Big
Yeah.
picnic. We have had
We usually, well, last 2 years, we've had a little Christmas party for the members.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
we have to be in bed by 8 o'clock at night, so it's in the morning.
We don't have to be. We
Gotta
just
take
go.
that nap.
Yeah. Did the meetings last that long?
No, hour
Hour and a half.
hour and a half.
Yeah.
If you have speakers, it lasts a little longer. Then, like yesterday, we had quite a bit going on. The officers deal, and we talked about the dues, and
Yeah.
then we had
How you mentioned the dues? What happened with that?
they went up.
Yeah,
I have
dues-
Like everything else.
Yeah, I got it right here. You want me to, want me to
Yeah,
run
go-
this by?
yeah, go-
Okay, here we go. Okay, for a single member, it was $13.
A year?
Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
So we raised it $2, which gives us money in our fund,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
So we raised it from
$1.50.
$1.50. So we raised it $2, which makes it $15 single a year with the
Okay.
raise. Okay, now for a joint membership, it was 20. So we put $2 on that, made it 22.
That's a joint.
That's joint.
husband
That's
and
one-
wife?
Yeah, spouse away. So he pays 22, I pay 22. Anybody with a spouse, a single person, just comes in for $15 now.
Okay.
Then that, if we didn't do that, we were going to have to pay 50 cents a member to have them belong. We're paying to have them
Because
belong.
the international just
International
had their
raised it.
convention, they raised theirs $3.
But you know what? That's cheap.
Oh yeah, it's only
you get a monthly.
and you get the donut, the coffee, and a 50-50 drawing, and we had a
How can you beat
50-50,
that?
yeah, 50-50 drawing yesterday. It was $66,
$66.
30
yeah.
something dollars, and the guy gave the money back, so
Yeah.
we got the whole
Did
thing.
really?
Yeah.
And then I got,
Cash
you want me to
bill
tell them
of
about the fun, I come prepared for this, man. Okay. This is all the stuff that we have. This comes from Ralph about how much money we have. Well, right now in our fund, a balance was as July 14th, we have $925 in our kitty, which is to work on, you know,
Yeah,
for
right.
parties and stuff like that. And we had a picnic, which was $355.56, which was paid by the law firm, a Mooney Law Firm, which they paid for our picnic, which helps out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we do. I mean, you're not going to get rich. And then we're going to give a donation to the Eagles Club for the Ladies Auxiliary for Christmas. We always do that.
Yeah.
Give them a check for $100.
Kind of give back because they're
Yeah,
helping
right.
you
Yeah.
and stuff.
And like I say, it works out good. And it's just, and like I say, just come down and say hi or something. Everybody knows everybody. I mean, you always hear that thing that, well, I haven't seen anybody since I retired. Well, you can come down here and there's people that I didn't know until we got this organization going from the dock company and the railroad at Bessemer, you know. But we all got together over the years and we have a good time.
Did it take you guys a long time to adapt to retirement?
Every day.
My
Every
wife,
day? You're
my
still
wife Marilee said it took her a long time to adapt.
Is she retired now? Is your
Yes.
wife retired?
She
So
came right,
you're saying Lynn is.
When you hear the door slam and the car starts, you know things aren't going good. And you're in the house and they're leaving.
that's where I got that from because she said it. I'm home 24 hours a
Yeah.
day now,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I'm in bed with her every night.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's right.
Well, you know, it's as I mentioned
kind of-
earlier,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a different ball game. Everything
Yeah.
kind of changes
Oh, yeah.
for you, and you know, I've seen guys they actually kind of they take it kind of bad, really, because
Yeah.
that's all they did all their life, like you guys. They
Yeah.
worked.
Right.
That's all they did.
You got to keep active and do something, you know. If nothing else, just get out once in a while or, you know, work outside. Of course, in wintertime, it's hard to go someplace, you know, or something like that. But
Well, we both walk.
yeah, we both, well, you can't go sit in a chair and call it a day because you're not going to make it. You know,
I
this is
go
day gonna work.
to Spire 3 days a week swimming.
Do you really?
He goes to Timmy Burke. Timmy Burke
Yeah.
goes
Oh,
there.
Burke.
Yeah, Burke belongs
Mr.
on, doesn't it?
McClellan.
Does he?
Yeah, Mr. McClellan, Dennis
Denny.
McClellan.
Dennis, yeah, I
Yeah.
know Dennis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I walk around the neighborhood with Bill Fales. He's my neighbor. You
Bill,
know
I-
him.
yep,
Sam
sure.
McCall's. We walk
Well, you do 3 miles.
3
a
miles
day.
every
Yeah.
day. You know.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's a nice neighborhood.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Walk in the morning, the afternoon, and then one in the evening. But you know, and then go out and go places. You know, another thing you hear people say, "Well, do you go out to eat much?" Well, we ate out for 40 years. We were never
Yeah.
home. You
Yeah,
know,
we
and
were.
the last thing I'm going to do is go out and eat in a restaurant.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to, but I mean, it's. You know,
Occasionally I do. I
Yeah,
don't
I'd
mind
rather
it,
be
but
home,
I'd
you know?
rather eat
Right.
at home,
Right.
you know, and save the money
right,
too.
on holidays, we were either gone or we'd be home. You'd have to. If Christmas was on a Friday, you'd have it on a Wednesday, and you were home because they weren't going to be there for
Right.
the holiday. You know, and stuff like now, you're home for everything, but it's kind of
Like my wife told me, she goes, Pat, if you retire, what are you gonna do? Sit in front of that television all day long and watch westerns? And I says, well, I'd like
Yeah.
to, but you know, she goes, that's not gonna make it. You gotta be active and volunteer or something, do
Well,
something.
yeah, you know, like Lynn, she doesn't care that much for sports. I watch football in one room, she's watching movies, and we wake each other up snoring.
That's what we
In
do.
separate
We
rooms.
do
and
too,
stuff.
yeah,
But
we do too.
it'll work out, you know, you just gotta make it what you can, that's all.
That's all you can do.
Because you can't sit in a chair and just forget about it, because you're not gonna be there.
Yeah, you
That's
can't
what
do it. So anyway, the next meeting, if you want to go, is November 10th
10,
November 10th.
at 10 o'clock.
10 a.m., yeah.
And we'll be announcing that. Dave sent
Yeah,
it to
I'll
me
get it
earlier
out,
now,
right.
so I can keep announcing it.
Right, I appreciate that all week, and
I think
and
Bill
Bill Shannon
Shannon-
does it too,
Yeah,
yes,
and
that's
Bill
great,
does it
that's
too.
really great.
So,
That's really
And our secretary and treasurer is a retired major, and he's going to speak to the veterans.
He used to be our speaker, Ralph.
Ralph,
Sanders,
yeah.
Ralph.
say his last name again, Dave.
Mungale. I always tell him, Ralph.
I hope he's not watching.
Yeah, I'll go like this. Just plain, just call me Ralph. That's what he said.
We're just having fun, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys keep up the good work. You
Okay.
know what? I think, you know, really, when you first started, I mean, I didn't know if you'd hit 100 members.
We didn't either.
No.
Now we're trying to hang on to them.
But, you know, it'll keep growing. It'll just
Yeah,
keep
it
growing.
seems it.
Yeah, we're getting 45, 50% members at each meeting. So
That's
I
good.
think that's
That helps.
good.
And if somebody has a question and you're embarrassed to call or shy to call in, or if you can't think of one right now and you get one, email me and then I'll send it to Dave or John, and then they can answer
Right.
it for us.
Right.
Okay, or I'll send their reply to you, and
Right.
that's the best way to do it. But
We had like 63 people at that picnic, and it was kind of
Yeah.
rainy and windy.
Yeah.
But I mean, and that was great, you know.
yeah, Bob was down
And
there.
Bob Lebsover showed up, and he was
He recorded it.
recorded it for us. He come down. I got a hold of him, and through you, I appreciate that.
He's of course he doesn't eat meat, so he didn't.
No, he didn't. I couldn't get him. You know, I had to laugh at him. I kept telling him when I emailed. I said, well, you know, you can stay you and your camera. And he says, I'm just a one-man band.
He
I
is.
just,
I saw that.
and I told him, I said, I thought you'd had a blip flying over and everything else. He didn't think that was funny.
He basically is one man.
That's what he said.
Second Monday of the month,
Second Monday
10
of the
a.m.
month, 10
Yeah,
a.m.
yeah.
Eagles.
And you always have the picnic when I'm on vacation.
Well,
You have it in August, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, tell me when you're not on vacation.
See,
We
I
try to
can-
get everybody to come.
But you know what I do? To be honest with you, David, I take my vacation the week of my birthday,
Oh,
so I
okay.
don't, it's like kind of can sneak
Oh,
around.
okay.
You know,
All right.
that's what I
All right.
do.
Yeah.
But
Well, we'll
yeah.
figure it out someday.
We'll figure something.
Oh yeah, great. Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you
Hey,
so
thank
much.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very
Thank you
much.
for having
And if you want to come make another appearance anytime,
Okay, we appreciate
more
that.
than welcome.